If you couldn't guess it by now, I am an absolute booktube tag addict. Today we're going to be doing the 90s cartoon book tag. I am really excited about this book tag because, like many of you, I was born in the 90s, and during this time I just found that there were so many good TV shows and movies, and I literally still think about those shows and movies till this day. I feel like a lot of the shows nowadays are not like those, and I literally miss them all the time. This tag is making me want to do a 90s cartoon readathon. The first category within this tag is to find a book that is a nostalgic read. For me, reflective of this category in terms of cartoons was the show Arthur. I used to watch this show all the time when I was younger, especially like in the morning times before getting ready for school. I just really liked the characters in the show, and when I think back on this show, it just brings up so many 90s memories for me, so many good memories. In Ben's category, his was Rugrats. In terms of books that are nostalgic for me, I would have to go with The Tea Rose by Jennifer Donnelly. This book I literally just happened upon in like the bookstore because of the cover, and I literally fell in love with this book. I'm not good at kind of like telling what the book is about, like free thinking, because I don't know how to avoid spoilers. So I'm gonna go to Handy Dandy Goodreads and tell you a little bit about what this book is about. So The Tea Rose by Jennifer Donnelly. East London, 1888, a city apart. A place of shadow and light where thieves, whores, and dreamers mingle. Where children play in the cobbled streets by day and a killer stalks at night. Where bright hopes meet the darkest truths. Here, by the whispering waters of the Thames, Fiona Finnegan, a worker in a tea factory, hopes to own a shop one day. Together with her lifelong love, Joe Bristow, a costermonger's son, sorry, I don't know if I said that word right, with nothing but their faith in each other to spur them on, Fiona and Joe struggle, save, and sacrifice to achieve their dreams. But Fiona's life is shattered when the actions of a dark and brutal man take from her nearly everything and everyone she holds dear. Fearing her own death, she is forced to flee London for New York. There, her indomitable spirit propels her rise from a modest West Side shopfront to the top of Manhattan's tea trade. But Fiona's old ghosts do not rest quietly, and to silence them, she must venture back to the London of her childhood, where a deadly confrontation with her past becomes the key to her future. This book was insane. I rated it a 5 stars, and there are 2 other books within this series that are literally amazing, and it's definitely going to be a series I reread one day in the future. So if you have never read this book by Jennifer Donnelly, what are you waiting for? The next category is finding a book about growing up. So for my 90s cartoon relation, I picked Hey Arnold, which I know a lot of people grew up watching, and I was fascinated by this show for the longest time. I have actually watched reruns to date, so it was such an awesome show that I always think about, and I remember like awesome memories as a kid binging this show in my pajamas. For Ben's choice, he chose Doug. So for this book, I chose Fly Girl by Omar Tyree. This book is literally like on a whole nother level. I read this when I was really, really young, and I actually have marked this for another reread because it is just that good. So, the synopsis for this one is, Tracy Ellison, a young knockout with tall hair and attitude, is living life as fast as she can. Motivated by the material world, she and her friends love and leave the young men who will do anything to get next to them. It's only when the world of gratuitous sex threatens heartbreak that Tracy begins to examine her life, her goals, and her sexuality. This book, I have no words. It was just so amazing, and I just found out there that it's a series. So I cannot wait to get back into this book, reread it again, and continue on. The next category is to find a book whose main character you didn't like. For me, I chose Rugrats because Angelica in the show, I just remember despising when I was a kid. I felt like she was the biggest bully. She was always picking on someone, and she just wasn't really nice. So this cartoon fits into this category perfect for me. Ben's choice was Johnny Bravo. So the book that I chose, which took me a little bit to think about, but finally it came to me, was The Other Woman by Sandy Jones. This book is about Emily, who thinks Adam's perfect, the man she thought she'd never meet. But lurking in the shadows is a rival, a woman who shares a deep bond with the man she loves. Emily chose Adam, but she didn't choose his mother, Pammy. There's nothing a mother wouldn't do for her son. And now Emily is about to find out just how far Pammy will go to get what she wants. Emily gone forever. I keep laughing whenever I say the name of this mother, Pammy, because she was absolutely like crazy in this book. I could not stand her character. I found her very, very annoying. And when you read it, you will totally understand what I mean. Doing this tag is literally getting me in like the best mood ever because I just love these shows so much. So the next category is to find a book with questionable humor. So the show that I related to this prompt was the Ren and Stimpy show when I was younger. This show was one that I was like forbidden to watch because there was just so much humor and graphic scenes for a cartoon for kids that I just was never allowed to watch it. When I think about it now, I can't believe that they ever made a show like that for kids. It's just so like amazing to me that that was viewable for that age population. For Ben's prompt, he chose South Park. So for my book, I picked Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine by Gail Honeyman. This book is about meet Eleanor Oliphant. She struggles with appropriate social skills and tends to say exactly what she's thinking. Nothing is missing in her carefully timetabled life of avoiding unnecessary human contact, where weekends are punctuated by frozen pizza, vodka, and phone chats with Mummy. But everything changes when Eleanor meets Raymond, the bumbling and deeply unhygienic IT guy from her office. When she and Raymond together save Sammy, an elderly gentleman who has fallen, the three rescue one another from the lives of isolation that they have been living. Ultimately, it is Raymond's big heart that will help Eleanor find a way to repair her own profoundly damaged one. If she does, she'll learn that she too is capable of finding friendship and even love after all. I found that this book fit with this prompt because Eleanor in the story, is just deeply depressed and unhappy with her life, which is not a spoiler. Just by reading the synopsis, you can kind of tell that is her persona or personality within the text. But she would make different like humorous remarks in the book that weren't necessarily funny, almost like making fun of the pain that she's experiencing and the deep emotions, the deep saddened emotions that she feels. So she tries to come across as humorous, but it's really not. And you can tell that there is a lot of deep, painful subtext to everything that she actually does. So I gave this book a 4.5. I thought it was really, 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 really good and just very interesting. And I really felt bad for her character. Find a book with a kick-butt female. For me, I chose, in terms of 90s cartoons, The Wild Thornberrys. This show like literally popped up into my head as soon as I read this prompt because I just love the main character in the show. Pretty much her family lives in like a safari, and she's just she's like, you know, very independent for her age, and just, you know, is a go-getter. And I really enjoyed this show when I was younger. For Ben, he chose Powerpuff Girls. So for me, I knew immediately what book I was going to choose for this category, and it is the Nevernight Trilogy by Jay Kristoff. This trilogy has 3 books, Nevernight, God's Grave, and Dark Dawn, which are fantastic, literally fantastic. And the main character Mia, is like on a whole other planet. She's so empowered. She goes after what she wants, and she won't stop until she gets exactly what she wants. So Nevernight is about Mia Khorvaire is only 10 years old when she is given her first lesson in death. Destined to destroy empires, the child raised in shadows made a promise on the day she lost everything, to avenge herself on those that shattered her world. But the chance to strike against such powerful enemies will be fleeting, and Mia must become a weapon without equal. Before she seeks vengeance, she must seek training among the infamous assassins of the Red Church of Aitreya. I literally cannot stop thinking about this series because it is just so good. A lot of people have a hard time with it because of the thick language that it uses. It's kind of hard to understand. I almost stopped reading it like several times, but I promise that if you keep going, you will be on the ride of your life. The book is literally amazing. It is so good. And it just keeps you on the edge of your seat, and you're just rooting for Mia the whole time, and you never know the next fiasco that she's going to encounter. So you're just literally like turning the pages as fast as you can to see the next like hurdle she's gonna have to face, and it is so good. So for anybody reading the Nevernight first book and you're having trouble with the language and you're just like, I want to throw this away, do not stop. The next prompt is, what is your favorite sport-centered book scene? So for cartoons, 90 cartoons that I chose for this category was Rocket Power, the same as Ben. The book that I chose for this was Until It Fades by K.A. Tucker. 24-year-old truck stop waitress and single mother Catherine Wright has simple goals: to give her 5-year-old daughter a happy life and to never again be the talk of the town in Balsam, Pennsylvania. Population 2,000 outside of tourist season. And then one foggy night on a lonely road back from another failed attempt at a relationship, Catherine saves a man's life. It isn't until after the police have arrived that Catherine realizes exactly who it is she has saved. Brett Madden, hockey icon and media darling. Catherine has already had her 15 minutes of fame, and the last thing she wants is to have her past dragged back into the spotlight, only this time on a national stage. So she hides her identity. It works, for a time. But when she finds the man she saved standing on her doorstep, desperate to thank her, all that changes. What begins as an immediate friendship quickly turns into something neither of them expected. Something that Catherine isn't sure she can handle. Something that Catherine is afraid to trust. Because how long can an extraordinary man like Brett be interested in an ordinary woman like Catherine before the spark fades? This book was really cute. It was really good. I felt like it, you know, there's a lot of girls that, or anybody that falls into the category of Catherine, who just sometimes feels like they're not good enough for someone because of their status, you know, because of their wealth, or, you know, several other reasons. And I just really thought this book was cute. And K.A. Tucker is one of my favorite authors anyway. I read The Simple Wild by her, which I really did enjoy. So I knew that this book was a perfect, you know, fit for this prompt. as Brett is a hockey player and he's kind of struggling to get himself back onto the ice. And lastly, the category is, what is your favorite sci-fi book? The cartoon, 90 cartoon that I chose was Dexter's Laboratory, where Ben chose Futurama. I used to watch this show quite often. I loved the science aspect of it, and I totally wanted to be just like Dexter because he was so smart and young and able to do so many things that I just wished I could have done at that age. The book that I chose for this prompt was Illuminae by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. This morning, Katie thought breaking up with Ezra was the hardest thing she'd have to do. This afternoon, her planet was invaded. The year is 2575 and two rival mega corporations are at war over a planet that's little more than a speck at the edge of the universe. Now with enemy fire raining down on them, Katie and Ezra, who are barely even talking to each other, are forced to evacuate with a hostile warship in hot pursuit. But their problems are just getting started. A plague has broken out and is mutating with terrifying results. The fleet's AI may actually be their enemy, and nobody in charge will say what's really going on. As Katie hacks into a web of data to find the truth, it's clear the only person who can help her is the ex-boyfriend she swore she'd never speak to again. Told through a fascinating dossier of hacked documents, including emails, maps, files, IMs, medical reports, interviews, and more, Illuminae is the first book in a heart-stopping trilogy about lives interrupted, the price of truth, and the courage of everyday heroes. Amazing, 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 amazing. When I first started this book, I was kind of not sure if I was going to be able to read it just because of the way it's told. Like it said, there's like emails, IMs, there's never like straight text. It's always being told through one of these like media portals. So at first I was kind of like turned off, but then as I kept reading, I was like amazed and I loved it so much. It is so good. The storyline is just so powerful and you literally are on the edge of your seat wondering what is going to happen next. Like I am just getting so excited just thinking about it. If you have not read this book, you have got to read it. It is a series. I've read the first book and I've read the second book, and I just have the third book to go, and I'm kind of holding off because of the fact that I don't want to finish this series quite yet because I don't want it to end. It is so good. You're gonna love it, hopefully, and you need to pick it up. Start it right now. That was the 90s cartoon book tag. I hope you enjoyed this one as much as I did. I tag everyone who's watching this video to do this challenge by Ben Sanders because I feel like you will just kind of like awaken your inner 90s child. Comment down below with your favorite 90s shows, what your choices would be, and just anything about the 90s. Let's just all reminisce about the 90s, one of the best decades in life. I am biased, but still. So yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this tag. Make sure you comment, like, and subscribe to my channel for more awesome videos like this one. I believe there's actually a 90s like movie tag too, which will probably be coming soon. So definitely look out for that one, and I will see you in my next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.